Hey Tubies, it's Psychic Bob. Well, it is so awesome to be here with you guys. You guys are the best. Well, here it is Saturday, and we're going to have our Spiritualist class and seance today. And I know the last few weeks it's been a little crazy, so we haven't been regular with this. But I told you guys, even though I'm down here at my mom's, I'm out of my normal routine. I'm trying to get back to a normal routine. So, hey, it's Saturday, and we're going to have our class. I want to come talk to you guys because I've been getting a lot of letters the last few weeks from people that are writing to me. Say, Psychic Bob, I feel like I'm having an awakening. I feel like the spirit world is calling me. I'm being called to do something, but I don't know what it is. But I just know that I've got a calling on my life. Maybe some of you have had that experience. Well, you know, today we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about a book. This is by another prominent spiritualist. This is Sylvia Browne. And this is her book called Mystical Traveler. Highly recommend. Highly recommend it. I love Sylvia Browne. I grew up watching her. She was a big inspiration that encouraged me to go on and become a psychic. And I remember as a kid watching her, I said, I just love this lady. As a teenager, I'd watch her on Unsolved Mysteries, and That's Incredible, and different shows she'd be on. And I used to think, I wonder if I could be a psychic someday, you know? And I always knew that I was a psychic, but I never knew if I could make it a life, you know? Well, this book talks about how to incorporate that sort of spiritual longing in your soul. And I thought we'd just do a little reading from it, then we're going to talk a little more about it, okay? And this is taken from Chapter 1, The Makeup of a Mystical Traveler. Now, she has a long introduction, about 20 pages, which I won't read, but it basically defines two types of spiritualities in this life. One is what we call a mystical traveler, and the other is a life mission entity. And they're both high levels of advancement. And she explains, I don't know if it's right here, I have to look it up here, but she explains that basically a life mission entity is somebody that wants to just do good in the world. And she says life mission entities are oftentimes the people, the unsung heroes that are in the background. You know, the people that work in nursing homes doing the midnight shift to take care of people. Many of them have a soul level calling to be a life mission entity. A lot of them don't want to be in the fanfare in the public, so they're a little more quiet. But then there's another type of person that's called a spiritual service, called a mystical traveler. And the mystical travelers are the ones who are kind of really on the edge. They're willing to throw in everything to serve God, to love their neighbor. And they're usually a lot more in a public eye. They tend to be more visible. A lot of them become writers and professional psychics and teachers. And it's not that mystical travelers higher or mission entities lower. It's just a different focus. So this book is all about being a mystical traveler or a life mission entity. And I thought I'd read a little bit from Chapter 1 about the makeup of a mystical traveler. Listen to this. Some of this may really resonate with those of you who've been asking about this, okay? And hold on, I got to put on my glasses. I might be mystical traveler, but I still have to have my reading glasses. All right. It says, here's the chapter. The makeup of a mystical traveler. The highest and most advanced spiritual level you can obtain in this life is that of mystical traveler. But fear not. It isn't outwardly manifested through flogging, long fasts, or other forms of punishment such as penance, denial, self-sacrifice, and loneliness. Becoming a priest, nun, minister, cleric, or rabbi does not guarantee that you'll be a mystical traveler, and such a soul is not automatically a saint, as interpreted by Christian dogma. And then she puts in parentheses here. It turns out that everyone who gets to heaven or to the other side, i.e. the spirit world, is a saint in one form or another. And she says, it is true that most of my ministers, now she has a church called Nova Spirits, that's what she's talking about, the ministers. It is true that most of my ministers are aware of the mystical traveler phenomena, but not even all of them have taken on the mantle, and that's absolutely fine. Please don't feel that by reading this book anything is mandatory. It is interesting because Francine's her spirit guide, by the way. Like Fletcher is to me, she's got Francine. Francine says that taking the oath of the mystical traveler is really for the souls, and here's the caveat, who feel there must be more. And she puts more in quotes. They sense some form of unrest, as if an alarm has gone off and propelled them to something greater. But they don't have a name for it. Of course, those who don't choose to be mission life entities or mystical travelers can still advance for God. As I've said before, becoming a mystical traveler is not for the faint of heart. In fact, it is in the beginning it is very, very hard. This oath should not be taken lightly because it marks your soul for Father and Mother God, aligning you especially with her. You more or less join her army for good. Think of having Mother God as your commander after you've accepted the mantle. Now, let me just pause here. Sylvia Browne in her church, Nova Spirits, she believes that the Godhead has a mother and father aspect. This is very much like what I believe as a Wiccan. So they're very similar. We're similar in our views. And she says, once you take that on, as a mystical traveler, you make your vow, you're working with Mother Goddess. And I want to show you here a ring that I'm wearing. You may have seen this the other day, but this is a ring that I wear. And I got this ring because I committed myself to service of the goddess. And it's actually, when I bought it, it's called a Wiccan hand fasting ring. But it's got script on it that is in Theban script. But the interior inscription that came on the ring, this was actually put in the ring, it says hearts as one. Now, I'm not married in the earthly sense, but when I took on the mantle of mystical traveler as a Wiccan priest, I got this ring. So it's funny that she talks in this book about you're married, you're in the army of Mother God, because I feel like I married the goddess, that she is my commander in a sense. Not in commanding or demand, but she's my love of my heart. And so I really relate to what Sylvia's writing here. So something to think about. So Mother, Father, God, and then once you become a mystical traveler, you align with the goddess aspect. Since so many don't opt to become mystical travelers, now remember this is rare, not everybody's going to be a mystical traveler, and even fewer were created by our parents, you may wonder what it is that pulls souls to such a high level of spirituality. I believe that those who become mystical travelers most can point to being on their last lives as the driving force to do so. See, it's kind of like, Sylvia says that she doesn't believe we're going to have a lot more incarnations, that the earth is going to wrap it up in 100 years or so. And so she says a lot of souls are saying, hey, we got the last go around, let's go for it. There are several reasons for this. First, by the time an individual soul is incarnated for the last time, he or she has been shown the need for great spiritual advancement over and over again. Second, the final existence is the last opportunity to become a mystical traveler in a realm other than on the other side. And third, by the time a soul is done incarnating, a great deal of wisdom has been accumulated. Part of that wisdom is the knowledge that our creators love us all unconditionally and would never ask us to do anything more than we've already decided to do, nor would they ever give us more than we can handle. Even though they're on their last lives here on this planet, mystical travelers will at any time be asked to go elsewhere in the galaxy to right wrongs. According to Francine, other worlds don't have the illnesses, wars, and chaos that Earth does. So at least it's some consolation that those of us who have taken on the mantle won't have to reside on any planet that has the insanity that this one does. Now I'm going to pause there for a second. Isn't that true? Now, you know how we're always talking about life on other worlds. And yesterday, for those of you who didn't see, we talked about fish aliens. And a lot of you wrote and said, you know, saying, Bob, I believe there are life on other worlds. And you know, all the spirit guides have confirmed it. And so the good thing is, as a mystical traveler, once you wrap it up here on Earth, you get to go either to the spirit world or you'll get to go to other planets. So some of you are in Psychopath, I feel as if I have lived on other planets. Well, you have. See, what a lot of people don't understand is that the soul's journey isn't just on Earth, it's throughout the whole cosmos. And a lot of people have chosen to incarnate. So for those of you who say, Bob, I feel like I've incarnated before in other worlds, I can give validation to that. That's not crazy, and don't discredit that. Now, just to back up on our teaching on spiritualism, traditional spiritualism, I'm talking like the last 100 years, has not really endorsed reincarnation. It hasn't banned it, but it hasn't endorsed it. We're seeing switches now in spiritualism, in the traditional spiritualist churches, where they're starting to embrace spiritualism. Sylvia Browne was a little ahead of her time because she was a spiritualist, but she believed in reincarnation. And so that's where that's coming from. All right, let's continue on. Then we're going to talk some more. In addition to mystical travelers becoming imbued with healing abilities, whether it's through words or the laying on of hands, since they've given up their will to Mother and Father God, their grace comes right through such individuals to whomever they wish to help. When you become a mystical traveler, it doesn't mean that you automatically become a psychic or a healer, but it will eventually happen. Whether you decide to hang out your shingle is up to you, but you'll definitely feel yourself becoming more infused with spiritual knowledge and thus able to write about your journey and help other people with what you've learned. You may not always be right, but you'll be more right more often than you're wrong. So you see, this journey, you know, what it's saying is once you commit, your paths will take a very radical shift. Now, some of you have had private readings with me. You know, you've said, well, gee, Bob, today I'm working as a Wall Street broker. And I've told you, I said, well, you know, you're done with that. You're going to be psychics. Some of you have said, oh my God, Bob, I feel like I'm supposed to be a psychic, but how do I leave being a Wall Street broker? It's so radically different. And this is where the mystical traveler comes in. Mystical traveler is kind of like your openness, your willingness to make a soul commitment to the highest for the earth, for yourself, for Godhead. And that's why I say, you know, don't take it lightly. Don't say, I'm going to be a mystical traveler. It sounds cool. It's not how it works. Mystical travelers, it's like you're called. It's a calling. And, you know, I've always said, and it's true, that as a psychic, I don't have a job. People say, what's your job? I said, well, I don't have a job. I have a calling. Many years ago, I had a job. You know, a lot of you know I used to work for different companies. I was in private industry, and I worked as a tech writer and worked for an engineering firm. So I've done a number of things in the material world. But underneath all of those times, I kept feeling this calling to spiritual life. And then I joined the Spiritualist church. You know, I would do it on the weekends, but I wanted even more. And my teacher who trained me, God rest her soul, her name was Julia. She's gone now. But Julia said to me, oh, Bob, you got a big future ahead of you. I said, what are you talking about, Julia? She said, you're going to be a full-time psychic. I said, what? No, I said, I like coming to the Spiritualist church on the weekends, but I'm not going to make it my full life. She said, yes, it is. You know, she said, you know that you're being called. Well, if I'm truly honest, I have to tell you, I actually did know inside I was being called. And so eventually I answered it. I think that I became a mystical traveler actually when I was 40. It was around age 40 that I left the corporate world and headed off into the life of a psychic. And I remember a lot of people at that time thinking I had lost my mind. My family included. My parents thought I was gone. They're like, you're going to quit a nice corporate job to do what? Talk to dead people? Do psychic readings? And I was like, yeah, but you don't understand. I got to do it. And I threw away corporate career and I stepped into the role of a psychic. And it was around that time I started YouTube. I didn't know. My teacher kept telling me, oh, you're going to be well known one day. And I just could not see it. But over the years, as the business started to develop, my following started. When I got to that point when I was 40, and I said, well, I guess it's now or never, if I'm really going to do this. Something about middle age makes you kind of really evaluate things. But underneath it, despite middle age, it was also an issue of that I had known it all my life. And so I got brave and I took on that mantle. I got ordained as a minister. And then, I was also, I'm an ordained minister as a Wiccan as well as a spiritualist. So I kind of carry both of those. But the mystical traveler mantle is like God's power, the divine, God, goddess, infuse you. And I really think that's what happened because from 40 forward, everything in my life turned to this spiritual work and I've never looked back. So I bring this to you today because some of you I know are feeling this and you're saying, Bob, I just know I'm not supposed to just be a 9-to-5 person, And if you're watching this and you're like one of these 9-to-5, you say, well, Bob, I have a great job, I have a good life, I come home at 5 o'clock every day, cook dinner for my family. That's okay. Don't feel bad. You're no less spiritual. But some of us know we've got to get out of this 9-to-5 matrix. It's not working. That we know we have more. And that's what this book is about. So if you're somebody who's been feeling like you're being called, I would highly recommend this book to you, okay? I'm going to read a little more here, okay? Sylvia goes on, she writes, she says, keep in mind that even Jesus was criticized and called evil and a charlatan. Despite his being the Messiah, his detractors couldn't see this or understand that his real mission was to free them from the bondage of this world and to make them understand that life is temporary. Yet, although they crucified him, he triumphed in the end. This world can be fickle, and the love you receive one minute can turn to disdain the next. But you can overcome this by keeping constant, always the meaning on course, by keeping constant, always remaining on course, and staying honest. If you've fallen, be upfront, for people tend to forgive everything but deception. Above all, never put yourself smugly above and ahead of others. If you do, then you become full of pride and self-righteousness. Who are you to look down on anyone? Keep in mind that in some other incarnations, chances are you were probably just as bad as the person you're currently judging. Isn't that good? Ooh, I love Sylvia. God, I miss her. I'm so sad. She sadly passed on, I think it was in 2013. And I grieve still her this day. I'm so thankful she came through one of our seances last year. So if you don't know about that, go to my channel and search for Sylvia Brown. You can see her. She channeled through me. So I'm so blessed. But I want to just share this book with you today. This is going to be our class because some of you are saying, well, Bob, how do I begin this? How do I integrate it? And I think that the first step is to meditate on whether you're being called. And if you feel you're being called, then answer that. And it can be as simple as saying, I'm willing to serve. I'm willing to take on mystical traveler. Help me. We'll cover more of this in future episodes, and we'll talk about the oath and all. But I just want to introduce this to you now, because as I said, a lot of people have been writing me, asking me. So, I am a mystical traveler. It's funny, I don't often talk about that, but it's kind of because it's so deep and personal. But those of you who know me, I think you'll agree. Can you see Psychic Bob going to a 9-to-5 job? Wouldn't that be hilarious? I've been getting psychic messages. I'm sorry I can't Xerox that report now. I've got a spirit talking. Well, I'm just glad you guys are here. You know, today I'm wearing my blue cross, by the way. Some of you are going to say, what, Bob, I thought you're Wiccan. Why are you wearing a blue cross? In spiritualism, this was one of the traditional symbols of spiritualism, was a blue cross. And for those of you who live in the United Kingdom, many of the spiritualist churches there still have blue crosses on them. Spiritualism actually is thought of as a denomination in some circles, as a denomination of Christianity, but it's not like traditional Christianity. That's why I like it. So I'm a spiritualist and a Wiccan, and sometimes I wear crosses to honor my spiritualist size. But I'd like to hear from those in the United Kingdom. You probably recognize. I'm just curious. A lot of the churches over there, spiritualist churches, are painted blue and white. That seems to be the old style colors of spiritualist churches. Even here, a lot of them were back in the day painted blue and white. You don't see it in the U.S. as much, but definitely in the United Kingdom. But the blue cross is one of the traditional symbols of the spiritualist movement. So that's why I'm wearing that. And, you know, you might want to do some research on that. But I am so glad you guys are here. Listen, I'm going to wrap it up here because we've got our seance now. So stay tuned and let's see what the spirit world has. I love you guys. Blessings to all of you. Well, Tubies, I am so glad to be with you. And it's time now for our seance. And I'm what's called a trance medium or a trance channel. Spelled Trance, which means I go into a trance state. And while I'm in that state, spirits overshadow my consciousness and take temporary control of my body. I always like to emphasize this is not possession. Some people say, oh my God, he's possessed. Possession is when a spirit will, against somebody's will, takes control and tries to dominate them. What I have with the spirit world is a partnership where I invite them in and we work together. And they raise my energy and I raise their energy. And it's a partnership. So we have a good experience. So I am so glad you guys are here today. And we're gonna see what the spirit world has. I like to work in darker environments. So we're going to turn off the lights here, get it a little dimmer, okay? So let's go ahead and just turn off our lights. I'll just turn off the lights here. Hope that I'm pausing the video, but that's all right. You guys are used to me, so we don't have to be so formal. That's better. Well, I'm going to go into trance, and I'll see you when I get back. Oh, this is Fletcher here. Oh, we're so glad to be here with all of you today. I got to say, lots of soul glow out there tonight. We've been looking around the world, and you know, from our perspective, we can see what's going on spiritually upon the earth. And you know, we're drawn to certain souls because they got that certain soul light. Oh, some of you here tonight, you know, you've been growing up telling everyone, saying, oh, we got a lot of spirits around us. And some people might be looking at you like you're a bit daft. But you know, those of us in the spirit world, we're always happy for the acknowledgement. It's like our medium always says, it truly is a partnership. We don't dominate him, but he does allow us to use his body. And we're so glad for the opportunity to step in here. It's actually easier for those of us from the spirit world to manifest through trance rather than independent voice phenomena. It takes a lot more power and a lot of right conditions for us to make our voices materialize independent of the medium. And so we find that it's easier for all of us if we just do it this way. We were so glad you're here. Well, I got a few people be wanting to speak to you, so I'll be stepping from our medium. This is Fletcher, over and out. Yes, Fletcher, I do believe that we're in the body now. You know, to echo Fletcher's words, he spoke about the soul glow upon the earth. This is the etheric light that surrounds all living beings. The soul glow is the light of the spirit. Each of you are part and parcel of divinity. You might think of the Godhead, which we call infinite intelligence, as a vast bonfire. And if you've ever seen a bonfire, you know that little sparks fly up in the air from it. Each human soul is like that spark that emanates from the bonfire. And so each of you carry a little bit of divinity. Now, don't become egoistic and think that you are the entire bonfire, for you're not. But you are part, a parcel, a little bit of it. Each of you have a connection to infinite intelligence. As long as the soul within you is alive, which it is never dies, as long as your body is alive, and the two are in harmony, you will have peace and joy. Many people, however, come into the earth realm and they forget their spiritual selves. They forget their spark of divinity. They become all about the body. I can speak from experience, for though I started in my younger years as a much more spiritually focused young man, over time I became obsessed with the body. The addictions of the flesh overpower and conquer one's will if they are not kept in check. Please understand that human beings consist of three elements, that is, the body, the mind, and the spirit. The mind is connected, it is the bridge between the body and the spirit, and it is part physical and therefore part spiritual. Many people, when they die, are amazed to discover that they can still think and experience independent of the body. Many souls, when they first arrive in the spirit world, said, I can't be dead. I'm thinking, I'm remembering things, I know things, I'm communicating things. And we'd have to convince them that the mind is independent of the body. For those who have been materially enmeshed, it's very challenging. For they insist they are not dead. They may concede to it being a dream, they say, perhaps, but not death. You see, at the point of death, the soul leaves the body and comes over into the etheric realms. The etheric realm is the edge of the earth realms, the spiritual realm and the material realm, I should say. And these realms are very close and many times very similar. This is why when some people first leave the body, they find themselves surrounded by strange beings and creatures. And when they return to the body, this most queer experience, I found myself surrounded by dinosaurs and unicorns and Martians. All of these creatures exist on the etheric realm. The lowest plane has all that exists and has existed upon the earth in it. There you will find the dragons of lore. You will find the unicorns. You will find the mystic creatures. And you will find the fairy realm, the fae. All of them exist on the first level. But humans are not meant to stay on that level, for when they leave the body, that is a stepping stone into the higher realms of the etheric realm. The higher realms are places of beauty and majesty, paradise. And even those yet are not the highest realm, for there are those that eventually ascend upward into Godhead itself. When humans come here, if they've done enough evolution, they are offered the opportunity to merge with the Godhead. But sometimes they choose to return to the earth. Please understand that life in the spirit world is always about choice. You may choose to stay here, you may choose to return. The only time that that choice is taken from you is if, for example, you have lived an immensely evil life and reincarnation is decided as a lesson and in a sense of punishment. Some people arrive and discover the peace of the spirit realm only to discover that they're being sent back to earth, that they must redo their journeys, and that they themselves will not get the time of rest. Do not fear, it is very few souls that are instantly sent back. From the spirit's perspective here, it is believed that it would be better for souls to spend time in recuperation, in reflection, understanding what good they did on earth, as well as what evil they did. Make no mistake, every soul here comes here, does good and does evil, or has done good and has done evil. Here they can only do good. You don't allow evil in this realm. In the lower realms are those who wish to perpetuate evil, but be assured that the average person that comes here does not have to deal with that. As in all societies, there is the criminal element as well as the saintly element. It is far better for all of you to strive to be in the company of the saintly element here rather than the criminal element. But if you choose on earth to live your life in a way that is destructive, that is less than, shall we say, you will find yourself among the criminal element. So do not worry that you will accidentally end up in the wrong sphere. Everything is operated by vibration. And so as you think, so you are. It is a truth that is manifest here in the spirit world. When those souls in the dark realms choose to think of more glorious thoughts rather than murder and have viciousness, then they will ascend into the higher realms of light. You see, there is a time for people to grow. Now, I know that there are people, that particularly of the Christian mindset, who say this is not possible, for the Bible says there is death and then there is judgment. What many people do not understand is that the judgment is done by yourself. You will judge your very self. It is not that God sits and looks upon you with an angry eye, hurling lightning bolts. No, this is not the reality of the spirit world. The spirit world is a place where you make your decisions and you experience the consequences of those decisions. Should you choose to live a path, walk a path of light, you will receive light here. Should you choose to walk a path of error and darkness, you will receive error and darkness. And as you live on earth, so you shall be here. Please understand that death does not make one into a holy person. I've heard many people say, oh, I thought I would be born among the angels. To which we unfortunately must reply, but you were not an angel upon the earth life. And there you will go to the sphere to which you are most accustomed. Please understand that death is the great equalizer. It puts all people on the right footing to truly judge what is real and what is not real, what is good and what is not good. When I was a young man, as I told many of you, I was very devoted to spiritual works. In my latter years, I turned to alcohol and to opiates, drugs, and they destroyed my body and my mind. And so I entered the spirit world with only 1/3 of my true self in operation. Remember, we said that we are body, mind, and spirit. So if you destroy your body through excesses of drinking and drugs, then you're weakening your condition in the spirit world. If you destroy your mind, as I did with all the fantastical opiates and chemical substances, then your mind is weakened. And so when you arrive here in the spirit world upon your physical death, you're only 1/3 of who you should be and could be. And this is why we caution those upon the earth. Do not give in to the extremes of excess. It will not lead you into the light. It will weaken you and you will fall into the darkness. But as we have told you, and our medium here has even spoken these words, the doorway to reformation is never closed against any soul here or hereafter. It would be better for all of you to work on yourselves while on the earth, rather than wait and come to the spirit world, or you will find it much more difficult. Spiritual growth is a form of exercise, and if you do a little bit every day, you maintain not only your soul health, and become stronger in the process. And strength does matter when transversing the spiritual realms. As you move from one realm to the other, it is your light and your power that allows you this motion and this transition. So build your power now, and you have greater freedom even after your death. And not only after your death, you have greater freedom in your earthly life. Fletcher's asking me that the others who wish to speak. So I shall be stepping from the boarding air. My name is Alfred. Oh, there we are, within the boarding. Oh, my dolls, this is Rose. We're so pleased to be here with all of you. Oh no, if only I had listened to the spiritual teachings, especially those of spiritualism, when I was alive. Like Alfred, I would have had a much easier go at it coming over here. But we can't look back anymore and regret the past, you know. Here we are, and we have to make today good. You know, whenever I come to visit each of you, my soul is blessed by your energies. It truly is an exchange of love between our world and your world. Do you know, I said the other day to Alfred, I said, there are many people who gather around this medium who are seeking to grow and be more enlightened. And we have to tell you, from our place, we're so very thankful for each of you. Sometimes we look upon the earth and we think no one cares about the soul. They're all concerned about money and fame and power, all of these things. But do you know, all of those things account for very little in the spirit world. Do you know, when I first arrived here, I was demanding more clothing and diamonds. I said, where are my jewels? And they said, Rose, those don't come with you from the earth realm. And I said, yes, they will. I put it in my will that I was to be buried with my diamonds so they would come over here. And they said, Rose, it does not work like that. And then, do you know what happened? The spirit brought me the most amazing gem. It must have been literally 1,000-carat diamond. It was big as a grapefruit. And I saw this, and I said, my heavens, I've never seen such a brilliant diamond. And you know what they said to me? They said, Rose, this diamond is shown to you in order that you will know the treasures of the spirit world. They far surpass those of the earth. But the secret to obtaining them here is not power and prestige, but love. And if you will act with love, you will receive such gifts. They will come to you from the higher realms. And do you know, since I've become a guide, I must say, my jewellery collection has improved immensely. If only I could show it to you here. In the future, we're hoping to be able to use this medium to bring forth more physical evidence of our presence, such as apports and indirect voice, and dare say we'd even like to get a materialization on camera. All of these things will yet come, so we must be patient with us, but we are working closely with him to increase his ability to connect with our world. All of you here also, we want to connect with you. Do not shy away from the spirit world. Let the spirit world bring you light and love, and you will have the diamonds in your lives as well. You may not have them on the earth instantly, but know that you are building a treasure in heaven. You know, my vicar used to say that in the Church of England. He'd say, Rose, better to place your treasures in heaven. And I used to say, well, if I put them up there, I won't be able to get them when I have an important event to attend. Oh, my dears, little did I understand about how to be spiritual. Oh, I was religious, all right. You see, my dears, there's a difference between religion and spirituality. Religion's all about following the rules. somebody else's rules, might I add. Spirituality is about following your soul and what you know within your heart to be right, whether anybody agrees with you or not. Know that over here intent counts for very much. And if you have intent that is the right intent, should I add, then you will be correct in your actions and you will be blessed in the process. So do not let others dominate your will and take from you that joy which is in your spirit. Have love in your hearts. And when you come to the spirit world, you'll have an immense treasure here. You might say, well, Rose, I don't care for diamonds. I'd rather have beautiful flowers. It makes no difference, dear. The things that you love on earth, you will have here. But here the difference is that you must earn them. You earn them through your love, and then they're given to you. And as you develop your mind, you can create your own realities. You know, I've told many the story of how I had to make my own home here. I was taken to an empty field and shown a simple doorstep, and that was all. And I was told it was the doorstep to my new home. And over the years here, I have built a magnificent home. It is through our mind that we create here. And a high mind has a high vibration. And high vibration in the spirit world means more power to do more good. So start the journey now, my dears. Raise your vibration. Do not be afraid of God and his love. Or should I say their love? For God is all beings. He is mother, he is father. The Godhead is infinite. And I think the best term, as Alfred said earlier, is infinite intelligence. It sums it up nicely. So let the light shine within you. Love your neighbor. Have peace. Do not war with others. There is no glory in attacking and being vicious, but it is glory in having faith in the spirit world and letting it infuse you. The secret is, my dears, do not have to die to have blessing. You only have to be open to it. And so start your journey to heaven now. Build your treasure. And when you come here, it will be true you have riches untold. But not only riches, you have joy that is untold. And that is worth more than any diamond, believe me, my dear. But I don't mind saying that I will keep the diamonds as well. Oh, my dears, Fletcher says the power of the medium is starting to fade. We don't wish to tax him. He's been through an awful lot. We wish to also give you an update from the spirit world. We've been working with the medium to strengthen him and balance him. He's been under a bit of stress and strain, as is part of the human condition. But he's doing very well. We're most pleased. We've been putting love around his dear mother. Oh, my dears, and thank you for all of you who have been shooting up prayers here. We see your prayers are rising like flames of a dart, a flaming dart rising into the spirit world. And we gather them and direct the energy where it needs to be. So thank you for your kind assistance in our work as well. The power is starting to fade, and I can feel the medium's power drifting. And so we shall be leaving from the body, but we send our blessings and greetings to all. Bye. Well, Tubies, I'm back from trance. I'm feeling good. You know, whenever I do channeling, it just raises my energy. I want to say thank you. Thank you to all of you who come out today. Thanks for being here. You guys are the best. I hope that this class and seance are helpful to you. You know, and I hope that wherever you are, that you're having an awesome day. Listen, I got to say it. If you want to help me out, please like this video, favorite it, share it with your friends, hit subscribe, be part of our channel. And if you want to get on my schedule for a private reading, give me a call. The phone number link will be below, 571-483-2112. That's my office. Or you can write to me at readings@robert-hickman.com. And while you got a chance, pop over to my website, www.robert-hickman.com, and pick up a copy of my books. I don't have them here to show you, but if you go to my website, you can see them. All right, guys. Well, listen, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll see you back here tomorrow on Sunday. Tomorrow's the Witching Hour, 8 p.m. Eastern U.S. time. Be here live. We're going to talk about all things magical and Wiccan. I love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow for the Witching Hour. And until then, may you always blessed be.